Hello and welcome back to this channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to try and draw some simple spring florals in Adobe Fresco. So let's just get started. I'm going to go into custom size and go to digital, and we'll choose square so that we can post it to Instagram without having to actually cut off our artwork. So click on this. I have a sketch and a color palette for you. You can find the link to both the color palette and the sketch in the description box below. So once you have them downloaded onto your iPad or any device that you're running Fresco on, go ahead and click on this image icon, go to your photos and bring in the color palette. So I'm just going to click on these corners here and increase the size so that it's easy for me to pick colors, and click on done. Now all you have to do is use your finger, you can use any of these fingers by the way, and click and hold on the colors until you get this icon and then let it go. So now you can see that this has chosen this color, and now it doesn't matter which brush you're on, just actually, you don't even have to draw a line, you can actually do a dot as well. So let's do the same thing for the next color. The reason we are doing that is once you actually draw the line, if you click on your color palette might not be here. Some of them might have it somewhere here. So click on the color, and now you can see under recents, I'm just gonna uncheck that. Okay, instead of all, if you go to recents, you can see the recent color that we have actually used. So that's why we are using this, so that we have all the colors in our palette. Let's do that. Okay, now that we have chosen all the colors, I'm going to click on this and click on hide layer, or you can also use this I button here to hide it completely. And then we're going to hide this color palette as well. So now let's go ahead and bring in our sketch. Click on the images again, go to your photos and bring in the sketch. I know this sketch looks so vague because I usually don't draw with sketches, especially an illustration like this. I just draw it, without a sketch. But this is for all those people who feel a little comfortable if there's a sketch. So I'm just going to use that to show you how you can use this sketch to draw this illustration or to illustrate this floral composition. Once you have that, click on done, and now we're going to go ahead and click on these levels here and make this as multiply. So what happens when you make it multiply is this white background goes away, and then yeah, it's pretty useful. And then let's decrease the opacity to maybe about 40% or 50%, depends on how well you can see this on your screen, by the way. Okay, so once you have this, click back on this level so that it goes and hides on the side, and we have a lot of space on the artboard. And now let's go ahead and start painting. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on a new layer. I'm going to start off with the daisies because I think that's the most easiest part of this illustration. So let's go ahead and first of all, let's give in the center, that is this bright yellow that we have. And now let's go to the brushes. You go to your pixel brushes, go to all, you can go to ink, and in here you can go to Belgian Comics, which by the way is one of my favorite brushes. And let me just quickly show you the settings for it. I've set it to 70, that's the size of the brush. The flow is set to 100, that is we're going to get all the color that we have on the brush. And the smoothing is set to 1. And now let's start coloring. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw this off like this, and maybe over here as well. Maybe that's too big, so let me just do this. One thing you should know is if you don't put pressure, you get a very thin line. If you put pressure, you get a very thick line. And that is very useful in the next one right now. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and draw the daisies or the florals that we have here. And for that, we're going to use two colors. One is white and the other one is a little darker than white. So we're going to put in the white first, and then we're going to go ahead and put in the little darker one later. So now let's go ahead and add a background layer because I think it won't show up on this white layer. So I'm just going to go to the last layer, click on a plus, so it comes above the background layer, and go to your fill tool, and we're going to choose some color. Let's go to some blue and make sure it's right here, and click on vector. And now you can see your sketch much better. So let's go to this layer, and I'm not going to draw on that layer, by the way. I'm going to click on a new layer. Let's go here to the colors and choose white, and go back to your Belgian Comics brush. And now let's start drawing. So the main thing about this is, I think I mentioned already, you have to press and draw. So it's something like this. I'm pressing and drawing, and I'm not drawing a straight line, but I'm just drawing some curves like this and then lifting up the pencil. I know it might seem very difficult, but trust me, it's not. You'll get the hang of it if you try it once or twice. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw like that. You see that? You can actually make it thicker as well, like that. Like this. Once you have that, let's draw here as well. By the way, you can use your 2-finger tap to undo things if things don't work out. Okay, you can go ahead and add more. Feel like they don't look good. I'm gonna add more here as well. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm gonna bring this below this yellow layer so that the yellow part comes on top, okay? And now we're gonna go ahead and choose the other color that is a little less white and go to your background layer and click on a new layer so that it's behind these white lines. And I'm just gonna go ahead and draw wherever I think I can fill in a petal. Okay, that looks good. And now if I go ahead and uncheck the sketch, you should see something like this. That's your daisy is ready, but it's not ready yet. Hold on. So I'm going to uncheck that. And now I'll go to this yellow layer and click on a new layer. And we're going to choose this 2 colors right now. So I'm just going to choose the lighter one right now and just make some dots here and some here. And let's choose the darker one. Oops. And make some more here. So now let's make these buds. You can actually go to the white layer again and choose white. We could have done this previously itself. So I'm going to draw these lines using the white color. I'm going to start from bottom and then do like this. That's a little not so nice. So I'm going to go ahead and do again. Let's do that here. You see I'm using a round technique. I'm not drawing straight lines, okay? And go to the not so white color and let's go to that layer and draw some here. That looks fine as well. Okay, now it's time to draw some lavenders. So I'm going to go ahead to the topmost layer of these dots and click on a new layer. Now let's go ahead and choose our color. We're going to be in the pixel brush, but for this right now, I'm going to choose this middle purple right here and we're going to use that. And let me just tell you how this works. For a lavender, imagine there's a straight line and we're going to use colors to go like this in a way that it's like that. I'll show you how I'm doing it. Like if there's a line, I'm going to draw lines like that, not straight lines, but a bit bent, and I'm going to put it all the way like that, making sure that it's in that triangle shape or the cone shape. And that's how you actually put in these elements. Okay, so let's start doing that. I'm going to undo that. So if you get very confused, you can go back to the sketch layer and draw a line like that for yourself. Oh, I did not draw it on the sketch layer, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer now. And let's draw this. So in the top, it should be really small. And then you can make it much bigger. You can actually increase the size if you feel like they are very tiny. And make sure you put some on the lines as well, because we don't want it to look pretty artificial, right? Okay, now let's go ahead to the layer below that and click on a new layer because we're going to add the darker bits to it. So go ahead and click on the darker color. And I'm going to add some like that. Okay, and now it's time to add the last bit of it, and that is the white color to highlight something. So I'm just going to go to the layer below that again and click on a new layer and go ahead and select white, and I'm going to add a little bit. Don't add a lot of it because we don't want it to be filled with white, but here and there, you know, a little bit of white things coming about like that. Okay, so you might not see it very clearly now because we have a blue background, but once we change it to black, it's going to show up very nicely. Okay, now go back and go to a layer below that again and click on a new layer, and we're going to add the stocks, which is really, really important. So I'm going to go here and select this very olive looking green. It's maybe olive looking. Yeah, let's go back and make this 70 or 72. It doesn't matter. You don't have to keep it at exact number. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw some lines here like this. Okay, once you have that, now let's go ahead and group all these things together. So you have to be in that layer which has these green stalks. Click on this and click on select multiple and select the 4 layers which have the lavender, not the lines that we drew for sketch, okay? And click on folder. And now all of these are in one folder. And I'll go back to that sketch which we did, the lines I mean. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck it so that it's out of this frame. And now this one, I'm going to bring it all the way below the white florals because I want them in the background actually so that they are right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and add the stalks for the white flower here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the layer above the lavender layer and go ahead and choose a color. So I think I'm going to choose the lighter green now, but not too light. I've provided some 3 or 4 greens, so choose any green you want. And now we're just going to go ahead and that's not going to work. The thing is, we'll have to move this above all the white florals. So I'm just going to go ahead and move there. And now let's go ahead and draw this. So you just have to draw something like that. And this. And now we're going to go ahead and draw the stalk, which we're not going to do that. So go back to your lavender layer, click on a new layer so that it's right above the lavender layer. And let's draw this. Okay, and we're gonna make some leaves here as well, maybe here. Okay, maybe put some here. You can draw some lines just like that even if you don't have anything there. Okay, so once you have this ready, we're going to add some elements to the side. So I'm going to go back to the lavender layer and click on a new layer. You don't really have to be there. So I'll go ahead and click on this lighter purple, and we're just going to add some petals floating around. And you know, add it like in a twist, like, you know, don't add straight lines again, and just add some petals here and there that they are flying in the wind. Okay, once you're done with that, now let's go ahead to the layer which has the color, and let's just uncheck that because we're going to add a different layer to that. Click on a new layer. So now let's go into our live brushes and go to oil, and in here you can choose oil paint shot or glaze, actually nothing, it doesn't matter, and I will keep it at 200 or 250. And now let's go ahead and choose black. We'll make it bigger, 512 or as big as we want. I'm going to add some black to the edges here. And then make sure you add some around these white florals. That's really important. Like that. And once you're done with that, next, let's go ahead and actually choose this gray that we have. And I'm going to add some gray here. And once you lift the color, you'll get more gray, and we're going to do that. And let's add something like that. I'm just using random strokes. I'm going to go ahead and choose black again, and I want this to be a bit more black. especially the edges. Okay, you can also go ahead and use a black fill tool and just fill it with the vector black color. It works too. It's totally up to you. Okay, but I like a little bit of, change in color here and there so that it looks nicer. So once you have this, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the sketch because it's bothering me. Okay, so illustration is almost ready. Only thing left is to write your text or spring. So I'm going to go to the topmost layer and click on a new layer. Go ahead and select white, and let's go to our Belgian comics brush. I have it in my favorites. If you click on the star next to the brush, it comes up under favorites, and it's at 70. So I'm just going to write spring. You can write it however you want. So it's totally up to you. Let me write it nicely. I'm not a letterer, so, excuse my really weird written text. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the transform tool and move it a little bit to wherever I want, or increase the size if I want. And I'm just going to place it here and click on done. And now your illustration is completely ready, and all you have to do is export this by clicking on share, publish and export, and you can export it as anything as you want. And you can also click on share, publish and export, and you can click on time-lapse export and see how you created this artwork actually. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you really liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell if you want to get notified every time I post a new video. By the way, if you want to support me, you can always buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com. You can find the link in the description box below. I guess I'll see you in the next video then. Bye bye.